Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome back to Intuition on Tap, where we uncork deep truths, soulful lessons, and intuitive clarity, one sacred conversation at a time. I'm your host, Heidi, intuitive and mental health coach, trauma informed hypnotherapist, and founder of Intuition Co. In today's episode, well, it's one I've been wanting to explore for a long time. And if you're someone who's constantly learning, growing, reading, reflecting, but still finding yourself stuck in the same patterns, this one is for you. In today's episode, we're going to talk about one of the most underrated and misunderstood aspects of spiritual growth and intuitive development: integration. Not the reading, not the doing, not the next course or the next healing session or the next energy download, but what happens after. When the lesson settles in, when the energy lands in your body, when that aha moment becomes actual transformation. So, take a deep breath into your belly, grab your journal if you like, and let's dive in. Why integration is often skipped, but always needed. So here's something I see all the time, and to be honest, I've been guilty of it too, maybe a little bit. So you have a breakthrough in a coaching session, or you release something massive during a clearing. You finish a powerful hypnosis session, or you get a download during meditation, or actually while you're in the shower driving your car or doing the ironing. And then within hours, you're scrolling Instagram, answering emails, back into the swirl of life as if nothing's happened. We move on just far too fast. We override the sacred pause, and we intellectualize what was meant to be embodied. Why? Because I think we're conditioned to chase clarity rather than cultivate it. We kind of think, okay, what's next? What more can I learn? How do I get even more intuitive, more spiritual, more healed? How many more answers can I get to all of the questions that I have? And you can see this playing out sometimes in readings as well. But growth without integration is like planting seeds into shallow soil. It looks good on the surface, but actually nothing takes root. And the same patterns return over and over again. The same doubts creep in, and the same spiritual fatigue begins to settle down deep in your bones. You might begin to wonder, so why do I keep looping back here? Spoiler alert. It's not because you're broken or that you've done anything wrong. It's perhaps because you haven't paused to actually integrate. So, what is integration really? Let's define it clearly, because this word gets tossed around a lot. Integration is actually the conscious process of allowing what you've learned, healed, released, or remembered to become part of your embodied experience. So let that sink in for a minute. So it's to become part of your embodied experience. It's not just knowing something, it's actually living it. You might intellectually understand that you deserve healthy love, but have you integrated that belief into your nervous system? You might know that your intuition is real, but have you created the space to trust it in your day-to-day decisions? You might have released an old trauma pattern in a session, but are you allowing yourself the grace to move differently now? Integration is the bridge between the insight, the healing, the epiphany, that aha moment, and the embodiment. And without it, it won't take root, because it's often quiet and subtle and maybe even a little bit unglamorous. It can look like just simply resting after a powerful session instead of jumping back into being productive, doing. Maybe it looks like journaling for clarity rather than reaching outside for answers. Or maybe it's just saying no to things that pull you back into the old version of yourself. So remember that we've spoken on previous episodes about having really healthy boundaries and being able to say no without shame or upset or beating yourself up about it. Because it's about the slowing down, the being with, and the allowing. The nervous system in integration. So let's talk a little bit of science for a moment. Your nervous system, especially if you're an empath, highly sensitive person, or trauma survivor, needs time and needs some safety to be able to rewire. And actually, I think we underestimate just how much time it might take for you to actually really heal your nervous system. Because even the most beautiful spiritual insight can overwhelm your system if it's too much, too fast, or too soon. Think of people who have had Kundalini rising experiences when they weren't ready for it. I can assure you they kind of present as a hot mess. It's not fun for them, that is for sure. So I would invite you to think about it like lifting weights, right? You don't grow stronger during the lift, you grow in the recovery. Your muscles integrate strength during your rest. And your intuition works the same way. Your body and your energy field need that rest to consolidate your downloads. Your subconscious needs repetition and space to be able to build new neural pathways. So if you've ever kind of felt a bit wobbly after a big breakthrough, almost like I used to think of it like feeling like a snail that's lost its shell, a little bit exposed, a little bit vulnerable, highly sensitized. Well, this isn't like a sign of weakness. That's your signal to take your time to integrate, to ground, to self soothe, to let your body catch up with your spirit. And I would also include here to fully hydrate, drink water, um, be in a safe space where people aren't going to be highly intensive or emotional around you, and also eat really highly nutritious foods and sleep, lots of sleep and rest. I often say to my clients, your higher self speaks in downloads, but your body speaks in sensations, and we need both. So you can't really do one without the other. Integration after emotional release. Let's go a little bit deeper now. What about those moments when you've had a big cry, a trauma trigger release, or a session that left you feeling really raw? Here's the truth. Emotional release is powerful, but emotional integration is sacred. So after you've released that anger, that grief, that pain, that fear, your energetic field is more open and more malleable. And that's when you get to choose. What new belief do I want to anchor in here? What support do I need as I stabilize this shift? And what version of me is ready to emerge? So, this is the time to tend to yourself like you would a small child. Warm tea, slow walks, hydration, breath work, gentle self talk, maybe even some stretching and some gentle yoga, yin yoga to open up those joints, and your energy system. You're not being dramatic or dragging things out. You are honoring the alchemy of transformation. Spiritual growth versus spiritual integration. This one might sting a little, maybe, but let's go there with some love. Many of us have become spiritual consumers. We binge courses, we hoard meditations, we chase the next energetic high. But here's the truth: healing is not a race, and intuitive mastery is not about how many tools you have. It's about how deeply you're willing to embody what you already know. Take a moment and ask yourself, am I applying the wisdom I've already received? Or am I constantly seeking something new because I'm afraid to pause and be with what's already here? That question alone, if you really let it land, can shift your whole trajectory. Practical integration practices. Now let's get tangible. Here are some soulful ways to integrate spiritual, emotional, and intuitive growth into your daily life. Everybody knows who's worked with me before. I love to give homework, and I guess this is yours today. So, number one, the 24-hour integration window. After a healing, a hypnosis, or a big energetic experience, give yourself at least 24 hours without any major decisions, any alcohol, or excessive screen time. Let the energy settle. And in fact, if it was a really big session, I would give yourself even more time than that. Number two, integration journaling. So ask yourself, what did I learn today about myself? What shifted in my body or in my awareness? How do I want to support this new awareness in my life? Number three, soulful anchoring. So choose a grounding ritual or ceremony, which can be as simple as a bath, lighting a candle, saying a prayer or intention, having a walk in nature, standing barefoot on the earth with your face towards the sun. And make this your post-session anchor. So every time you have a session or you have that big transformational moment, ensure that you then anchor that in, however you choose, in whatever way that feels the most relevant and comfortable to you, but do it each time. That will help with the integration and embodiment. Number four, talk less, process more. So I would really invite you to be more discerning about who you share your insights with immediately, because sometimes integration requires solitude before sharing. And I certainly know that people who do a lot of ritual work, there's kind of like an unwritten rule that you never share the working that you've done with other people because it diminishes the energy. You don't want uneducated or unknowing, no matter how well-meaning they may be, people to make fun of or minimize or belittle your experience, because that will become part of your embodied process. So keep it close, keep your experience close, keep it in your heart, keep it in your energy system and your consciousness, just while it integrates and embodies before you go off sharing it with everybody. Number five, give yourself permission to pause. The most advanced spiritual practice actually doing nothing, letting the energy settle without forcing a next step. And I think, within our systems, we have been trained that we need to produce, that we need to do. Um, but the reality is, you need to equalize that with being and actually being present with yourself rather than doing things externally. Integration and intuition. So let's bring this full circle. Integration is what gives your intuition staying power, because otherwise you're just kind of chasing signs and synchronicities without ever becoming the woman or the person who trusts themselves. It's kind of externalizing your power, externalizing your experience rather than really internalizing it and embodying it. Because you're not here to prove your intuition, you're here to live from it. You're not here to download endless wisdom and answers to every single question that you've ever had. You're actually here to walk in that wisdom, to walk within that wisdom. So the next time your soul gives you a breadcrumb, for sure, follow it, then pause. Let it land, let it shape you. Let your intuitive self become, I guess, your default self. Not just in the podcast episode, not just in the session, but in the way that you make decisions, the way that you speak, the way that you show up in the world, and the way that you show up for yourself. If you're listening somewhere quiet, take this next moment with me just to close your eyes. Place one hand on your heart, one on your belly. Take a slow inhale through your nose. Exhale gently through your mouth. Now ask yourself softly, what truth is ready to settle into my body today? What wisdom have I already received that I haven't yet honored? And give yourself permission to let whatever arises be enough. No fixing, no analyzing, just receiving. You are the integration point. You are the portal. And you are the embodiment. So thank you for sharing this space with me today. If this episode nourished something in you, I'd be so grateful if you'd leave a review, share it with someone who needs to hear it, or tag me over on Instagram at miss.heidi.jane. I always love seeing which part spoke to you most. And also, if you're ready to deepen your integration practice, explore my guided hypnosis sessions, clearing practices, and maybe intuitive development courses over at intuitionco.com. And until next time, love, pause, anchor, embody, and remember, your intuition doesn't just speak, it stays when you let it land.